Well, hey there. Welcome to Take 3 Reactor Summit, where I never say our full name of our show because I would prefer that our show is just named the Take 3 Reactor Summit. That's the end of the statement. I'm joined by a regular contributor to the show, Malcolm Lay. How's it going?
It's going good. It's been a crazy few weeks, but can't wait to talk about it all.
Yeah, we took last week off because I had some mysterious illness, the flu, and not so mysterious. I had the flu, and just had no way of doing a show while I had the flu. But there was a lot that happened. There were obviously a lot of matches last week, and then the week before we had some great matches as well. We're going to go through last week's matches, all of the news that happened as well. There was a lot that happened, and predicting the many, many matches that we're going to have this week, because that Atlanta Live event is happening on Saturday. Should be a lot of fun. Let's get right into this first match. So this is the match between the Cuckoos Mess and the Real Rejects. And before we get into that, let's talk about the cutscene, because we're getting kind of like our not really our first look at the Barbarian, because he was in a cutscene last season, but our first look at the Barbarian as a competitor, because last season he wasn't announced as a competitor. But this cutscene was weird. It was really weird. He smelled a hat. That's pretty much what. But what did you think about this? Was this a pretty good indication of the dynamic we're going to see when the Barbarian has his match this week?
Yeah, I think it's the cutscene was pretty much to sort of show what kind of character the Barbarian was choosing to go with. He's going with a very top dignity kind of character where he doesn't seem to make a lot of sense as to the way he does. Just the way it's like Tom's like, you're supposed to wear it, like you can spell it if you want, like, that's fine. It's like whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a little. It was overall. I have no words. It was really weird in a good way, because I think the Schmoedown is really thriving with these oddball characters. You saw, Drew coming in last season, Video Drew, and Tom coming in and basically taking the whole Schmoedown by force. And, when they first came into the scene, people weren't really sure what to do with them. They weren't sure if they liked them or not. And then as they kept playing, everyone loved them more and more and more. And now you get this season where we're getting new Tom, or Rick Hong, who is fantastic. We'll talk about him when we talk about the match. And also characters like the Barbarian, who are coming in and just being wacky. And I think that's something the Schmoedown didn't miss before, because obviously we had people like the Real Rejects who were always kind of off the wall wacky. But it's just a different kind of character. We're getting people who are really kind of larger than life. And I think it's really cool to see that we're not getting just your very typical, like, I'm a babyface, I'm a heel, or I'm neither, and I'm just kind of playing to play. We're getting interesting characters, unique personalities. This is what the new Schmoedown is kind of going to be about, I think. Whoever can kind of hold on to that personality and get their grasp into the fandom, right? Do you like his character so far?
I mean, from what I've seen of it, it's fine. I mean, like his character is sort of becoming like, oh yeah, I get why Tom wanted the Barbarian, like, especially if this is the right character he's going to go. It kind of complements Tom, and it just fits that kind of mold that Tom is like. And it's one of those ones like the Barbarian's one that I'm going to be looking out for, because I'm pretty sure this is the one that Ethan is going, oh yeah, he knows a lot. He knows a lot more than me.
Yeah. So obviously he's going to be fantastic. He is from Michigan. I believe he went to U of M. So everyone knows that he's going to be like the best ever. Uh, just going off education alone. No, I've been hearing things about him since his first cutscene and how we should be looking out for him. So he's definitely been on my list of rookies for this year to keep an eye on. I'm really looking forward to the match he has this week. We won't preview it yet, but we have a cutscene to talk about, so we're going to talk about it at some point. But yeah, I love the dynamic of Tom and the Barbarian. Both of them are over the top personalities on different sides of the spectrum. I think it's just a really fun marriage of characters. But let's talk about the match, because that's why we're here. Talk about Schmodown. So obviously, I'm really bad at segues. Welcome to the summit. So the Cuckoos Mess versus the Real Rejects. Obviously, the Cuckoos Mess is a new team with Rick Hong stepping in for old Tom, and now we have new Tom. And no one should ever correct Video Drew. It's always going to be new Tom. Yeah, I thought this was a fun match. It was competitive. It was, the entrances were hilarious. You had, Rick coming in and people not really sure if he was going to be able to kind of top the weird energy that Tom had. And yes, he definitely can. And he was able to play through that very weird character, which is something I was really worried about. So I'm glad to see that. He made a very strong debut. But let's get into the match itself. So round one, good all around. I think everyone had a really solid round one. Obviously, the Real Rejects came away with a better round one. They both had perfect rounds. Neither of them could actually get the extra point, which I knew. I was very proud of myself for knowing who Corey Feldman was. Yeah, and then round two, I don't think Real Rejects has ever had that solid of a round two. It was just really, I'm probably wrong. I'm sure they've done better at some point because I'm always wrong about something. But it just felt like they were really solid in round two as well. And Cuckoo's Mess obviously got opponent's choice, got Denzel. Maybe they should watch some more Denzel movies. In particular, why does no one in the Schmodown remember the Titans is, I guess, a thing. And then you got round three where they just, Cuckoo's Mess couldn't convert on that 5-pointer, and it meant the end of the game. Still a really good match. It was very competitive. It was very fun. I loved the characters. I loved the gameplay. Malcolm, what were your thoughts about this match?
Just from the start of this match, it was just really entertaining. Because, you and Cuckoo Mess come out in their kooky self. Like, for some reason, Rick Hogg had Harlow fitting on a headband. I don't think it was ever explained why, but just as soon as he came out, I was like, he's coming in as a character. Usually it doesn't go well if they come in automatically sort of settle, but he played through it well. But the Real Rejects' entrance, though, like when they came out in masks, like with Greg Elba having a broken mask, and then broken crashing, like, I want my mask back, and then them having a back and forth about the entrance of the year awards at this Schmodown. I don't know if it's a legitimate beef or just them joking around, but the fact that John Humphreys just happened to have another outlaw mask underneath the one he's already wearing, and just to hand just a lot of fun. And and honestly, out of these two teams, would you have thought the Real Rejects would have been the one that got the two perfect rounds?
No, well, and that's kind of the weirdest thing about the Real Rejects, because they have not a horrible record, but they pretty much have a really bad record. But they're always a fairly solid team. Like, they've had a couple bad matches, objectively, but they always hang in there. And even, when you look at Humphreys' performance in the free-for-all, where he got the MVP award the first time around, like, they're solid players, and they've had a bit of a break, so maybe that kind of helped them get back into the game
Yeah.
and get their heads around the trivia a little bit more. Or maybe this is all just because Coy is a good manager. I mean, he seems to be able to rally his troops very well. I mean, you look at the turnout for that entrance, which was fantastic. It was hilarious. The mask under the mask was so funny.
Yeah.
But you look at the turnout of the Mouthy Mercs, everyone showed up. I mean, you had the entire faction basically come out, and that's a strong turnout. I mean, I haven't seen that yet with any of the other factions where all the people show up to support their faction mate. And I think that was really cool just to see the camaraderie around this faction and that they all are there to support each other. But yeah, it seems like Coy knows what he's doing. He obviously was able to talk them into getting probably the correct choice for opponent's choice. Denzel, poor Denzel. I'm so sorry that no one in the Schmodown watches your movies, Denzel. But yeah, it was just a fun match. I had a blast watching it. And honestly, I don't think we've ever seen the Real Rejects just be as cohesive as they were in this match. So I'm just really impressed. I think that if they continue to play like this, it could be a team to watch out for. And that's the weirdest thing I've said on the summit, I think, in a while. The Real Rejects could be a team to look out for. And the Cuckoos mess, you know, I don't think people are going to forget to talk about them because they're crazy and that's the best thing ever. But I don't think this match showed their actual potential as a team. I think they worked really well together. And if they hadn't got opponent's choice, this match could have ended up the other way around. So hopefully they'll get a second match soon-ish, maybe, so that we can actually see them evolve into this team for next season. Do you agree, Malcolm?
Oh yeah. And I mean, the thing is, a win is a good way that's going to help to get another match down the line anyway, and maybe put them in a good standing for the teams tournament this year as well, because it's going to be one of those ones like you're going to need to have a good enough record to be in the top 16 or 8 or whatever many teams you're doing for the tournament.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to both of these teams having another match soon. So I'm really, so far, this season of the Schmodown has not had any big failings for me. Even where the matches have been less about the trivia and more about the entertainment. There have been no misses for me yet. I'm looking at you, Brett Match. Best match of all time. So let's move on to Janine versus Reilly. Man, there's a lot to talk about with this match. And the sad thing is, it's not about the match that we're going to be talking about mostly. And that's really sad because I think that Janine there's a very, very small percentage of people that don't think Janine should be rated as highly as she is. We'll talk about it a little bit after we talk about the match, but yeah, that's kind of where this conversation has gone. Instead of talking about the actual match, people have devolved into just talking about whether or not it's right or wrong to say that Janine is an overrated player. Okay, so let's start out first. Matt got a shout out. Good for you. Enjoy spending probably upwards of $100 on Mark Reilly's new jacket to complete your Mark Reilly cosplay. Yeah, round one, again, is pretty solid. I think we're going to see a lot of good round ones this season. Making round one easier has the strategies of making the matches more competitive, which everyone wants to see a competitive match, and also makes it easier for it to be consumable by a larger population of people. So I'm never going to complain that round ones are more competitive now. I'm never going to complain that they're too easy. One, because I'm getting more questions right, and that makes me feel good about my life. But also because it's good for the Schmodown itself, it's good for the players, and it's good for the actual people consuming, you know. Do you know what I'm saying, Malcolm? Are you kind of in the same mindset with this round one shift to easier questions?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones like, well, yes, there's always going to be the complaint of those questions. Questions are easy, like, difficulty of the questions is always subjective, anyway. Because I mean, I'm not always getting perfect rounds myself, but it's one like when you get a question right that the competitors don't know, it makes you feel. It does actually make you feel good about stuff like that. But I mean, this is definitely one of those matches in which it was just fun to watch.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think that there was a nice energy between Janine and Reilly. I mean, they're competitors, but at the same time, like, they are friends. You could tell that they were friends, just in the way that there was like rapport between them. I mean, Janine always goes hard in her interviews and stuff because that's just, she's very sassy. I appreciate about that. Her personality, I think it's fantastic. But yeah, this match makes me really not disappointed because I think that Janine played the best of her ability. She obviously didn't love her round 2 category with Leo. Funny, because I didn't know anyone was incapable of loving Leo. But it seems like Janine maybe doesn't love him as much as she did prior to this match. And I'm honestly surprised that Mark Reilly put horror as one of his wedges, because we've seen time and again the horror category has tripped up people who are quote unquote horror experts multiple times, including Mark Reilly. So it's interesting to me that he put it on the wheel and not a different strength like Star Wars or comic book movies or DC movies. But obviously it didn't hurt him. He did very well in that category, but I was kind of surprised to see that. I think we're going to see some more surprises like that happen because of the questions being put back into play from earlier seasons. Janine's picks for wheel slices I also thought were really interesting with dance movies and Spike Lee. And there's definitely strategy at play this season. There's a ton of strategy with these wheel slices, more than there's ever been before, especially with all the new slices and all the old questions. I think that people are thinking really critically about what to put on the wheel for their opponent, but also for themselves based on who they're playing. And I think that what Janine picked was really smart. Like dance movies, pretty much everyone except Brianne Chandler and Bibiani have sucked at dance movies. And then you have Spike Lee, who small pool of questions so far. No one has picked him yet. And also he has a really short filmography. Studying the general knowledge of his filmography is so easy because he has barely any movies that he's directed, you know? So I think, man, I'm just really impressed with the thought behind the wheel slice selection. I think that's where a lot of the strategy is going into play this season. What do you think about the slices that were picked in this for round 2? Are you kind of in the same mindset of just, you know, man, these people are really like planning all of this out, or is there like something different you're thinking about this?
Yeah, I mean, I think with Matt going horror, I think it's a case he either feels really confident about it to put it up, or he put it on as a way to sort of, because he thought that maybe Janine's not good at horror, not a lot. So if she landed on it, that's something that she wouldn't work in. I mean, Janine going dance movies is a pretty easy one to throw on there because, as you said, a lot of people do not do that great in dance.
Yeah, no one. Pretty much.
And I mean, and with Spike Lee or any sort of director-specific bridge, Spike Lee's new one that's been made this year. And as you said, he's got a full pool of movies that he's directed, and it depends on sort of where they go with the questions, because we have had questions in various, especially actor categories, like this actor produced this movie, but they weren't actually in it, which I don't think those ones should be in there, but there's precedent for those ones popping up.
I actually kind of agree with you. If we're not going to look at any other producer, like we're not getting questions about Philippa Boynes, Fran Walsh, because the only producers I can think of are ones from Lord of the Rings. We're not getting questions about them in the Schmodown, so why are we getting questions about this actor produced this movie? Like, that's not I mean, to me, it's like, you might as well start asking who did the cinematography in movies, which, if that's the way you want to go, do it. There's a lot of people who are crazy knowledgeable about cinematography, about the people who were in charge of costume design and all that. Like, it's in the credits of the film. It's technically fair game.
I would argue cinematography should be a
yeah. I mean, there's definitely a real slippery slope when you start involving parts of the credits in anything, except for Star Wars: The League, because like they have to have questions for the League, and what else is left outside of like who was in 5 minutes and 35 seconds of the credits, like.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the actors produced movies and stuff, I wouldn't be opposed to those questions appearing if the actor themselves was in that movie. But I'm pretty sure the Will Smith produced one, he wasn't actually physically in that movie.
Right. Yeah. Some of those actor ones got a little weird. I think that when you start having to dig into, questions about movies that the actor isn't even in, maybe it's time to retire the category. Or maybe we just need to take a harder look at the questions. I'm not bagging on the question writers. They do a great job. I think that this season, maybe they've hopefully taken a look at those categories in particular and narrowed the focus of them to be more about the actor. Because I know that was a pet peeve of people in the past. Like, if I'm picking, Tom Cruise as my wheel slice, and the question isn't about Tom Cruise or a Tom Cruise movie, why did I pick Tom Cruise as a wheel slice? It's a valid issue, honestly. I mean, that to me is a valid complaint to have from a competitor of the game. How are you supposed to study for a category if the questions aren't about that category? So yeah, it's interesting. I would like to see what would have happened with this match in particular if Janine had maybe gotten a strength of hers instead of Leo, which obviously didn't end up the way she wanted it to. I think it would have been a much more competitive match. I'm not sure she would have won. I think Mark was just playing very well. I think he's very prepared to try and go back into, belt play. I think he's ready. So Janine just has bad luck in facing people who are belt holders or have been belt holders, because you look at every one of her losses, it's to someone who has had the belt or has the belts, and singles or teams. I think that it's just really upsetting that, we need her to get a couple more of those middle ground matches, I feel like, to really show what her level of play is, because the only matches we've seen from her are, her match against Bonnie, which nothing against Bonnie. She's not a competitive Schmodown player. She's hilarious. I love her in the Schmodown, but she's not competitive. And so you really didn't see a good match there, because Janine was playing someone who just really wasn't a super competitive player. And then you see her going up against people like Chance at that New York Live event, and this match with Reilly and the other people she's had to play. She keeps it competitive. I mean, you see the match with Chance, it was down to the last question. So it's just hard for me to think about how bad Janine's record is, and how actually, she's a very solid player. And it's just sad that her record doesn't reflect the level of play that she's capable of. We can touch on this. I don't really want to talk about this too much because I think people got super up in arms about there was a small contingent of people saying that Janine was overrated, and I understood where some people were coming from. I think that there are a lot of people who very, very much love Janine. They love her character, they love her gameplay, they love the energy she brings to the Schmodown. And there were a few of the people who were worried that maybe she was being overhyped. Maybe all that hype was messing with her head, was putting too much pressure on her, whatever. Those people, totally understandable. I understand what they were talking about. Wasn't negative. It was just thinking maybe we shouldn't put so much pressure on Janine to live up to these astronomical standards some of us are putting on her and other competitors, honestly. But then there were a few people who were just dicks, for lack of a better word, saying, oh, has Janine happened yet? No. Okay, wake me when it does. Like, stuff like that. Why is that necessary? Like, why do we have to go there? Are you not a fan of her? Fine. But why do you have to be a dick about it? Like, just shush. Just shush. I'll let you talk about it because I have so many feelings about this and I've been trying to stay out of it. So why don't you take away I'll just like breathe for a few minutes and you can just talk about this controversy with this overrated talk.
Yeah, I mean, I've also been one that's been trying to stay out of it. So, but this is definitely one that, like, as a word, I really hate the word overrated or underrated, full stop. Because a lot of people use that for movies, musicians, compared to sports teams, like, and everyone always misconstrues them to people to think that overrated means bad or underrated means it's good but just not watched enough. I'm pretty sure those are not what those terms mean. I'm pretty sure overrated just means it's not as good as people are saying. But I mean, it's one of those ones like Janine is good. She's just had bad luck with opponents. And it's just, and even though she does have a loss, it doesn't mean that she's out for the rest of the year.
Right.
Because the first thing that this whole talk has done now is now Janine's going to want to push herself more to prove everyone wrong, which it really shouldn't, because this whole argument is not really helping Janine or doing anything. It's just going to be put more pressure on her. And I mean, I don't think I've never actually talked to Janine in person before, but she seems like a nice person just from what other people have said. So
she's a wonderful human being. Yeah, I get your point. I think that at some point when she does have another singles match, I don't particularly know when that's going to happen, just given the insane amount of rookies we have to get through and their second matches we have to get through. And, you know, like other singles players who want to play too, you know, who knows when Janine's going to have another chance to get in the ring. I think that she is going to have a lot to do because she has to not only, you know, play for her own standards. Now she has to play to prove all these people wrong who are saying she's overrated. And that's a lot to put on anybody. And I mean, it's just really an easy way to get into your head about a sport, any sport, is to listen too much to what people are saying about you. And I think that's kind of where the season is going to go in terms of the fan page, with less competitors going in there. If it's Christian Splish, there will be no competitors in there. But I think it's safer to take yourself out of the conversations about your gameplay, to put a wall there, because the only thing it's going to do is make it harder to look at the game from the outside and to say, what did I do in this match and what can I improve on and how do I make my next match better? You're going to be looking at this comment said I did this and this person said I did this. And I love that competitors watch shows like this. So we have like many competitors in the chat. We love you, competitors. Thank you, Brandon. You're the best. Also, Andrew, wonderful human being. Thanks for watching the show. I don't mind that they watch the shows, but I hope that they aren't taking all these comments and obsessing over them. You know, these shows, the fan pages, Twitter, and all that, it's enough to drive someone crazy. So I really hope that Janine just takes a step back, looks at the match, and says, how can I do better the next time I play? And not care about the people who think she's overrated or the people who, you know, are holding her up on this crazy pedestal. Good fans are fantastic. You know, supportive fans are great, but letting the fans kind of place some sort of unachievable expectation on you is also not healthy. So there's definitely two sides of the conversation here. I think that there have been some competitors in the past who have struggled with the issue of like, how do I live up to these expectations that people have placed on me? I get it. Like, I have that problem with like my actual job, you know, like it's hard to, you know, do something that makes people disappointed in you or do something that disappoints yourself or people who are rooting for you. This is such a hard conversation to have in general because these are just real people playing this sport. I agree with Brandon. It is. It's enough to drive me crazy, and I'm not even competing. Do you have anything else you want to say about this? Because this conversation, I could talk about fan expectations and this gameplay and the, you know, competitors who take it way too seriously, what people say about them, forever, because I think it's that important of a topic, but we also could, I just have to go back to work. So
yeah, on this particular topic, I don't think it's easy to say, but we've got everything that needs to come out.
Yeah.
Besides, we do have more drama to talk about that's happened. So
right. I think the only other thing I want to say is that it's nice. I think Mark Reilly's performance in this match has been completely overshadowed by this controversy. And that's a real shame because he's a competitor who has had this same thing said about him numerous times, that he's overrated, that he's not as good as people say he is, over and over again, because Matt will talk about it and say people are stupid for saying it because he's the best person ever. It's really upsetting to me that this controversy has overshadowed a very good match. And I don't know. I just wish that people wouldn't take things so seriously sometimes. Like, this is for fun. Why can't we have fun anymore, people? We didn't talk about the cutscene, which we should talk about, because what the heck is happening with Shannon? So Shannon and Mark Edward Hoyk are talking about burying Dewberry. What is happening? Okay, what's your take on this? Because I just this is too much for me, honestly. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I really got no words for this. I really love this cutscene, and just Mark being his whole Mark and just barely saying anything in this whole cutscene.
Yes.
But it sounds like maybe they're teasing to a different kind of gimmick for Dewberry, because maybe because with Mark's it looks like they're keeping sort of Mark's sort of creepy persona, and we all know that him and Dewberry are going to be a team. Maybe the term burying is more literal, and they're going to do some kind of cutscene in which they kill off Dewberry, but he gets raised as a creepy undead evil guy or something. Which could be really interesting to see what happens with Dewberry after that. But I mean, there's so many various things that this could go. But it sounds like it's like Shannon's like, what more can I do to Dewberry that's going to make the fans hate me? And so they're probably going to get Mark to give Dewberry a hard time in matches and kind of make him go heel or something. I think that's what this is all happening.
Yeah, I mean, so Shannon, who is a queen, and I will never say anything bad about Shannon because I think that she is taking this entirely too seriously, and that's absolute perfection. But them making Hoyk and Dewberry a team was confusing to me anyway. And then putting them in a team together so that they can ruin him as a player is also just so confusing. I guess like them basically making this whole thing to make Shannon more of a heel character isn't necessary to me. Like, I understand she broke the wild berries up and therefore that gave her street cred, maybe like that gave her cred as a heel, but she didn't need more. All the stuff she's done after that has been absolute perfection. She's been retweeting and throwing shade at literally everyone and their mother since that draft. Like, she has been on a warpath to prove that she is like the baddest boss in the Schmodown. I don't know that I need this, like, we're going to bury Dewberry thing to enhance her heel character. Like, I don't know. If that's all it is to say, like, wow, she's a heel, she's real bad, look at what she's doing to everyone's favorite Barry. I don't particularly like that. For me, I don't really care for that strategy. Now, if there's something that happens because of it, like if they're trying to do that and then he refuses to play for them and then maybe another faction rescues him and puts him on a team with Josh McCouga and they call it the Wild Dewberries Part 2 Electric Boogaloo. Who knows? Maybe that would happen. Yeah, I just don't know how I feel about this. I mean, I want to hear what you have to say about this in terms of Shannon having to prove she's bad. Like, is that kind of what you're reading out of this too? Because I'm just really struggling with what is the purpose of this.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones that for now all we can do is assume that is what she's doing. She's doing it to prove that she's bad and show everyone that she's truly a heel and that she doesn't care what people have to say. So if that is the case, I'm kind of with you. It's kind of unnecessary to have this cutscene. But if there is more to it and it's going to come out to a larger kind of reveal or something, then I'm down with it, with whatever happens. So, like, whichever way it goes, it could go in crazy ways.
Yeah. And if you guys want to tell us in the chat what you thought about this cutscene, I'm really conflicted about it. Like, I normally love the storyline, love the cutscenes, sometimes more than I love the trivia. So for me to watch a cutscene and find it entirely entertaining, because I think Mark Edward Hoyk is hilarious, and I think Shannon is a queen, but to not love the storyline aspect of it is so rare. So yeah, let us know what you guys thought about this one. If anyone has anything to say, we'll share it. Let's move on to Shannon again, because if she couldn't have been a heel more than this, she traded Bonnie after one loss for Claudia. And good Lord, Maya Burnett, what are you doing? What is going on with that guy? Like, he doesn't show up for his team's first match of the season, if you don't include his. And then he does these weird trades that make no sense, like trading Video Drew for like nothing, and then trading that nothing. Not that Claudia, you're not nothing. I'm not saying you're nothing. I'm just saying that you're an untested entity. That's all I'm saying. You're lovely. I've never met you. I think you're fantastic anyway. Yeah, trading Video Drew, who is like the most loved person in the Schmodown right now, for an untested entity, and then trading that untested entity away for Bonnie Somerville. I don't get it. I don't get it, Malcolm. Do you get it? Is there a method to this madness?
I mean, I've stopped trying to understand Robert Burnet's moves because the more I try to understand it, the more I get a migraine and have to get some pain medication afterwards, because there's really no understanding. All it's getting done now is it's now made everyone wait in anticipation for Claudia's match to see on how good she is, and I really hope she proves that she's worth being shunted all around the place.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Robert Meyer Burnett's entire thing is that he knows something we don't know about literally everyone on his team, and that he's just never going to show up and they're all going to win all their matches. And then we're all just going to be like, well, what the heck just happened? Because all of a sudden, Robert Meyer Burnett is the leader of the number one faction in the Schmodown. That is something that could happen.
Yeah.
Is there a high probability of it? Absolutely not.
Yeah. Also, to be fair, I just find it funny that the manager who doesn't show up for managers took someone who no one is ever really sure that's going to show up.
Right. It's so crazy. It's so crazy to me what is happening. I love that Shannon is being so hardcore about this. This is the kind of thing that proves that she's a real heel. To me, I don't need weird cutscenes that prove it. Like, she doesn't need to prove herself. She's doing a great job on her own, just being like the craziest heel manager we have literally ever seen in the Schmodown. She's actually, to me, she is like one of the best heels we've ever seen, period, including players, including, Andrew Guy and everyone. Like, she's up there. She is making some power plays. And like she literally could just start like maniacally laughing at some point and it would not be out of character. She is like the villain of the Schmodown in the perfect way. So yeah, I love this move for her. Character.
Also, I can't wait for Claudia's first match and just to hear the promo, because I mean, if Claudia's going to go heel and with being in Shannon's faction, she's got a lot of ammo about spouting out about being the one person no one really wanted. So she's got a lot of ammo now to use in the promo.
Yeah, and in the chat, featured presentation productions. If you have a name that you'd like to be called besides that, because that's a lot of words, let me know. It says if Claudia even sniffs at a title, Shannon's Manager of the Year.
That's Tony Heald. I already know who it is.
Who is it?
Tony Heald.
Oh, well, hey. So all these people with like their fancy names, I don't know who you are. You're just fancy names to me. Videos by Andrew, I don't know. Who could that be? I'm just joking. Yeah, I just love this move. I love this move for Shannon. I love this move for Claudia. The only person I don't love this move for is Bonnie. I'm so sorry. I mean, I don't think she needs a manager anyway. So if Robert Meyer Burnett just doesn't show up, it's not like it's going to matter.
Yeah.
The next thing to talk about is the exchange. And oh, the exchange. If everyone remembers from the summit where we went over the draft, and I basically said the exchange is without a doubt the best faction in the Schmodown this season. It will be the best faction in the Schmodown this season. It will win this season unless it implodes because it has the highest probability of just falling apart any second. Yeah, I said that before any matches have played, and my God, has it just. I have never been so right about something in the Schmodown. I'm so happy that I'm right about this because I love it, and I'm not gonna play into this drama for drama's sake thing. I think that this is marketing, and it is genius marketing because I have never been so excited to watch a title match as I am for this, to see what happens after the match. Because no matter which guy walks away with the belt, not literal guy, he's not playing for the belt. Sorry, Action Army people. The traitor is the one with the belt now, and you're all going to have to live with it. Yeah, whichever person walks away with the belt. The build up for this match has been so funny and so like mind blowing in just the level of drama that it has hit. There has to be something that happens after the match is over. Without a doubt, Christian is planning something big because of all this drama. He probably has had to change his plans because of this drama, and I am living for it. This is so exciting to just see what happens because of this. So, first of all, how have you enjoyed the drama, and what's your key, kind of key takeaway with all of this? Because I mean, yeah, I'm so beyond entertained with this. I'll leave it there.
I mean, my key takeaway from this is Tom needs to talk to his team before he makes decisions. That's my main takeaway. But I mean, this is one of those ones in which has been talked about on just about everyone that is involved personal's YouTube channels. Because I know they had to get Mark Reilly got Tom onto the Reilly round table to make the official sort of final word to say, which kind of went back on what was initially announced anyway. But I think this is just a whole lot of hullabaloo over nothing.
100%. 100%.
Because because I think Roker was upset because he was told he could manage then Christian said no managers. And
right.
Then Ben was upset because Roker was managing. And, it's going to be one of those ones that whatever happens after this match is going to be interesting because from what I understand is Tom won't be able to trade a champion until they've had at least 2 losses in a row. I think Christian has said something to that line. So which means we're going to have to wait to see what happens with this and who's got titles in the middle of the year, whether someone does get traded. But
I don't remember something about champions, people with belts. I know that you can't break up a team unless they've had 2 losses in terms of the protected teams.
That's probably what I'm mixing up.
Yeah, I don't know about if Ben loses the belt, would Finstock trade him? Probably not. I don't think that's happening. But I think he could. I don't think there's rules that say he can't trade him. I could be wrong. they really should have put the draft rules at least in writing, because it's all very confusing. And he says things during SEN Live, and it's like a throwaway comment, and then all of a sudden it's like very, very pertinent to the conversation. Such as a very misleading poster that came out earlier with Tom's face and Roxy's face on it, making it seem like they're the undercard for the match between Emily Rose Jacobson and Alex Damon. This is not the case. There have been multiple posts about this on the Facebook group, and I'm not lying when I say that. People are literally confused that Roxy and Tom are the undercard for the Atlanta match now. No, they are not. They're just trying to give them some room on the poster as well. Yeah, it was a confusing poster. I was also worried that I had missed something very serious on SEN Live today. I was like, what the heck happened? Did the exchange actually implode? No, it didn't. Everyone's fine. We're all fine here. Thanks.
No.
Yeah, it was a funny poster. But yeah, the drama, I live for it. I think that this is hilarious. I think it's brilliant marketing. The Atlanta event is sold out, so obviously they did something right. And if nothing happens, I will be so sad. If all of this was for nothing, I will be so sad. Or maybe it'll just be kind of nice that nothing happened because of all the drama. We'll be very surprised if nothing happens. This Schmodown will surprise me, which is great. I love when that happens. Okay.
I'm just going to address this bit. I mean, I don't disagree with you on that, Tony, but once again, it's one of those ones like Tom does have more knowledge than what he lets on in character. So he and I mean, it's one of those ones like all Ben has to do is go, should I challenge this? And Tom will be like, if you think it's worth challenging, challenge it or something. But I mean, it's one of those ones like this whole thing about players managing their teammate. I don't get why this should have all blown up in the first place, because I mean, if the New York event was anything to go by, that Coy could have done the same thing. Coy could have said, could have gotten another player to manage either Brendan or Bibbs,
Right.
because it was really awkward when he could only confer with one of them on the wheel spin, but he couldn't talk to the other one at that time. So,
yeah, I think I completely understand where Ben is coming from in terms of, Roca is an advantage for Merle. I completely understand that. On the flip side of that, there's literally no one in this game who knows the game better than Bateman does. So he doesn't need a manager. He is the manager.
Yeah.
I mean, I have said more than once that I think Ben needs to cool it on the behind the scenes manager role that he's taken on just a little bit. This is another point to that comment, because him coming out and saying this is a huge advantage for Dan, like that's something a manager should bring up, the fairness of a match, the fairness of the behind the scenes of the match. That's a manager thing.
Yeah.
Just pointing that out. A good manager would bring stuff like that up.
And I mean the other thing I think everyone involved in this match is forgetting, doesn't matter who gets the belt, whether Dan wins it back or Ben keeps it, it stays within the faction. As more times they face each other, the more points it is for the faction alone anyway.
Yeah, I honestly, Ben, what he's doing is so smart, because he plays such a mental game in general, but he plays the game before the match is even started, right? Like he plays the game while he's preparing. He plays the game on Twitter. He plays the game on SEN Live, on Backstage, everywhere. He is always playing the game. He is always on strategy. He knew what he was going to do by saying that, it was an unfair advantage. He knew what was going to happen. There's no way he doesn't know how much that comment was going to burn,
Yeah.
He's very smart. And I'm not lying when I say he knows the game better than anybody. He does. Like, he knows the strategies. He's inventing the strategies this season. He doesn't need someone on his side telling him what to do. He's already doing that fine on his own. For that matter, if this was such a big deal, why couldn't he have suggested Mark Reilly to manage instead of Tom to make things fair? That was never mentioned. That was never on the table. Another point to him being a brilliant strategist. He didn't put something on the table as a fair, whatever word I was going to say is gone. But he didn't say, like, instead of doing that, we could do this. He didn't say that.
Yeah.
He's very smart.
It is. And I mean, it's...
Well, Tony, Riley is not available. I don't care. I do care. Thank you for that information. But, like, you could have said, like, anybody from the faction. Hey, Andrew, are you available? Would you like to come manage me?
And it's one of those ones like Emily was already going to be there as well, who's another competitor. Even though she's bought an IG,
will probably be there, and he's on the faction, and he would be a funny manager to have. Everyone loves BC, so yeah. I mean, I don't know. Nope. Thank you for your prompt response. Yeah, I mean, it's just funny. It's like this whole thing so overblown. I love it, but it is so overblown. Okay, let's go through the matches for this week real quick because we got some fun ones. We got the debut of Adam Witt in the Star Wars League versus Mr. Five Names himself, Sean, middle name Sullivan. This match is going to be a lot of fun. Adam Witt is a hilarious character in the Schmodown, and he unfortunately didn't get a lot of spotlight last season because he was very much overshadowed by Paul Preston. Now, them as a team, I absolutely loved. Paul as an individual player, I absolutely loved, but I'm really interested to see what Adam Witt can do in the Star Wars League. Yeah, I have no idea his knowledge because we've seen people come in who have been like, oh yeah, I know Star Wars. Like, I've seen the movies, and do very badly. So you would assume he knows the level of play that you have to be at to be competitive in the league since he's in the Schmodown already. So that gives me a lot of hope that he is going to be a solid player. On the other hand, you have however many first names you have, Sean Sullivan. I'll stop making the joke. He's a lovely human being. He just has a lot of first names. You can ask him. He'll let you know. He, like I said, he's really nice. I think that him getting a chance to be in the Schmodown this season is awesome. I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know what his baseline was. I know that he was studying his butt off for this match, though. So we have an untested rookie versus an untested Star Wars League rookie. What do you think is going to happen with this match, Malcolm, even though I think you've already watched it? Pretend like you haven't. And what was your take before you saw this match? Or you don't have to say anything, and I'll just say what I think is going to happen because I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I'm one of those people that as soon as it gets put up in Patreon, I was like, oh, goody, a match, I'm going to watch it straight away without thinking about maybe I should wait and we can do a reaction to it. But
yeah,
but I have seen it. But I think the winner will be either Sean or Adam. It'll be the one with the most points.
Thank you. That is probably the best way to get away from talking about the specifics of a match I've ever heard. Very smart, Malcolm. Well done. A+ for you. Yeah, I haven't seen this match yet. I honestly am having a hard time picking this because normally if I don't know what people are going to do in the league, I just go for who I'm friends with or who I like better. I like both of these people. Like, Adam's really nice. He's very funny. He's fun in the Schmodown. He showed that he can play well in teams, you know, like he's got the record. Sean's really nice. He's very funny. He, you know, I know he's been studying. Like he's been his not wife, Schmodown common law marriage wife has been posting about it a lot on Twitter. So I know that he's been working on this stuff, you know. I'm going to give it to Adam just because he's had the experience in the Schmodown. Like he's experienced the lights before. But I say that with a lot of trepidation because I think it could go either way. But just for me, the experience always is going to win out when both are kind of unknowns. Next match of the week is Barbarian versus Clee Wiggins. Again, another match against complete unknowns. What do you think is happening in this match? It's going to be weird. That's all I know. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know about this match, but I'm going to probably lean towards the Barbarian for now, just for the fact that he's been hyped up a lot. Like everyone from Ethan Irwin to that saying that they're really good. So I mean, I'm got to take that into consideration with doing these predictions, especially when it's two people you don't really know. I mean, I hope to see Clee put up a good fight. But yeah, this is good. For this probably be a fun match considering Barbarian. Seemed like fun and Dagnita will be there. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I from the limited amount of research I've done, very, very limited on both. You know, I think this match is going to be really entertaining. I mean, Clee is a performer, you know, like she's an actress. She's also done stand-up before, you know, like she definitely is going to have the performance side of the Schmodown perfect. And we already know the Barbarian has the performance side of the Schmodown down because we've seen it and he's weird and it's the best thing ever. Yeah. It's just, I don't know what to do about this because the Barbarian has been really hyped, but has he been overhyped? We haven't seen him play yet. He went to he's a Michigan person, so he's gonna get my vote. Let's not parse words here. He's gonna get my vote. But I think that Clee could be she could win this match because we don't know anything about her. We don't know what her strengths are. We don't know anything. So I'm interested to see what happens. Good old Billy Bedford in the chat asks if Clee loses, will Shannon trade her to the Droogs? Probably. I'm not going to lie. It's going to happen.
Does the Droogs have anyone that she would want?
I don't know.
With the exception of Ethan, maybe.
I don't know. At this point, I don't even know what's happening anymore. Yeah, it's going to be fun. That's all I know. This should be an entertaining match to watch. I'm looking forward to it. And then Tony said the Barbarian has a chinchilla skin, so that's a plus. Absolutely. Yeah, chinchillas are great. That's the end of the statement. Last but not least is the live event. Alex Damon versus Emily Rose Jacobson. I think a lot of people are counting on Emily Rose Jacobson doing well here because she has been studying a lot and she's competed in Inner Geekdom before. And people are just kind of saying that Alex knows Star Wars very well, so he'll do well at the Star Wars questions. Alex is not just an expert at Star Wars. He's an expert at Indiana Jones. He's an expert at Lord of the Rings. He knows a lot about comic book movies. People just assume because he has a Star Wars channel that he only knows Star Wars. Before he even competed in Star Wars, he was a huge fan of Lord of the Rings. He was a huge Indiana Jones fan, all this stuff. Like, he is into fandom in general. I think he'll be fine. Who's going to win? I have no idea. I'm going to put Alex up there because he like has some sort of weird like memory palace, because the things he remembers about movie trivia is insane to me. Yeah, I think that he has the depth of knowledge, for sure, for a large amount of these categories, and the way that he prepares is very smart. So I think that he could win this one, but I know that Emily Rose Jacobson has really been preparing for this as well, and I know that she's been studying a lot. But yeah, I give the edge to Alex. I also think that he has a manager who is gonna help him more. Sounds really bad. Sounds really bad. But Tom is a great manager for promos and for entertainment, but he's not like the best gameplay strategist, which I think Emily would benefit from. So, yeah, Alex, what do you think, Malcolm?
Yeah, this is an interesting one because, like, I know Emily's probably been studying with Adam a lot on the set of Critical Role and stuff, the Hyper RPG stuff like that. And I think Emily could do really well. Like, I think the biggest question is Alex, because I got yelled at for saying I'm wrong for this in the chat, but I mean, I think Alex could do on a Feastman Star Wars. Like, Emily's probably dead in the water there. But I mean, this is going to be a case of you can only hold so much knowledge in your brain, and when you're doing a Star Wars specific channel, you're going to have a lot more Star Wars than anything else in there. And as can't remember who said it, but I think Billy said it that Rachel has said that Alex is also good in Lord of the Rings. Yeah. So I mean, so when you've got those two sort of, and you know a lot in there, then how much of the other stuff can you have in there? So it's going to come down to sort of what comes up on the wheel for Emily and what comes. So I mean, I'm actually going to give the slight edge to Emily. I think she wants to prove that she is a good player, and I think she wants a lot of people to forget about her first match she ever played, and I think she wants people to see her getting better. So and I mean, when you're in a faction with a lot of great players and like people like Dan and stuff, who's really good at specific areas of IG, and you've got a lot of people you can sort of study with as well, then there's only one way to go but up, because I mean.
Sure. I get it. No, I think that's a good point, is that the faction isn't just the manager, that hopefully the other faction mates will be helping her prepare for this match as well. Like some of the other factions are doing, they're very close and they're helping each other prep for these matches. I would hope that her teammates are doing that for her as well. My edge for the in-game managing goes to Roxy, simply because she understands I don't even know if that's true or not true. Tom knows the gameplay. He knows the strategies, but I don't know. I just feel like Roxy is a better gameplay manager, and Tom is a better like people manager. Like, he manages the people. He manages the comments and the interviews, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's a great way to do managing. To have both would be fantastic, because Tom's the best mouth of any manager. He's got the best promos of any manager, But if he could be more serious about the gameplay, he would be, top notch. Yeah.
The biggest question is, will Tom get her name correct?
Yes, there you go. Andrew says in the chat that they are helping each other. So that's good to hear. Thank you, Andrew, for letting us know that you're helping each other. That makes my heart very happy to hear. One big happy family, the Schmodown 2020.
Yeah, and especially Andrew helping Emily with Star Wars is going to help maybe combat Alex. So
yeah, and I'll say it many times, over and over and over again. If anyone is going to challenge Damon for that belt this year, it's going to be our good buddy Andrew. I said it last year. I said it this year. I think he's got it. It's just a matter of time, right, bud? Just a matter of time. You're going to get that belt for your faction, and we're all going to be happy, and I'll get to say I told you so.
And it's not just because you're in the chat as well.
It's not. I've said it when you're not in the chat before. So, yes. We got, I'm just going to forget about the most important match of the season so far. Ben Bateman versus Dan Murrell. It's going to be crazy. This match is just, so hyped. And these competitors are so on their game. The biggest risk of this match is that Dan has been preparing so much for his debut in Inner Geekdom that maybe it could hurt his chances of this match, except that he can put Inner Geekdom slices on the wheel. So that isn't something that Ben is necessarily preparing for, but it's not necessarily a weakness for him either. So do I think Dan could put Middle Earth on the wheel again as a strength? Sure. I think that'd be smart. I think that would be really intelligent. I know that Ben has seen Lord of the Rings. I don't know his depth of knowledge for it, but it's a smart bet that the Inner Geekdom questions are way more specific than general knowledge questions are of a movie. It's not stuff you can educate guess about. You have to have seen the movies to answer those questions. I made the bad decision at the beginning of last year of betting against Dan Murrell. And after that happened at the New York Live event, I have decided that I will stop doing that. And I'm going to say Dan Murrell is going to win this match because I made a big fool of myself when I was asked by Christian, who do you guys think is winning the match? And I said, Ethan's just been on a real hot streak. I think he's going to win. And then did not win. So Dan's going to win. I'm sorry, Ben. The Action Army will be happy because traitors or something. Who do you think's winning the belt?
Yeah, this is tough because Dan is yet to lose at a live event. I'm pretty sure Frank has actually said that somewhere on the page, but Dan is just yet to lose at a live event, which is crazy. But in saying that, I think Ben might slip in there because it's one of those ones that that all the drama could now be playing in Dan's head and has distracted him just enough to throw him off his game. So I'm going to give the slight edge to Ben. But as the tagline for Aliens vs Predator goes, whoever wins, Finstock Exchange. Whoever loses, Finstock Exchange still wins, or something to that effect.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. As Mr. Billy Bedford in the chat says, how many exchange podcasts are there? Not enough, because the exchange is literally winning no matter what happens, I think at the end of the day, you're right. No matter what happens, the belt is staying in the exchange. This faction is a powerhouse, as I have said before, and it continues to show why it was so feared when all these four guys were safe for the draw. So, yeah, man, this is going to be such a good match. I can't wait. I think this is the real challenge for Ben, though, is defending this belt or just having a strong match here will really put him up there with some of the best who have ever played the game. So that's exciting for me to see what then we're going to get this season or this match, and then if Dan's just going to be able to get that belt back, because I want Dan to have both belts at the same time. I think that'd be fun. I think that's going to be good. So that's all the matches we have, and I got to get back to work. So I think we're going to kick it, not literally, figuratively, in our brains. Malcolm, how many plugs do you have today? Just like a couple or many? What's going on?
You can find me on Late Night with Take 3 hosting. You can find me hosting Late Night with Take 3. And this week the topic is just movies. We're talking about the spring movie season, just because there wasn't really a lot sort of happening that really wanted to have a show. Then on Rankum, it's talking about top 12 sci-fi movies of the 90s. I know there's bound to be a couple of hot takes on there. Matt's already warned me that there will be.
Matt never has hot takes. What are you talking about?
And you find me on Formula Random, hosting that on the Full Metal channel. We just did a friends match earlier tonight. Watched it. It was fun. Next week we go delving into the history of the fan leagues, and it's going to be a whole fan league question match. So
awesome!
It's definitely going to be fun, and I mean it's one of those ones if you don't know anything about the fan leagues.
Yeah, how do you even prepare for that? That's great. I hope there's a question about how many times I got an opponent of mine got opponent's choice. 3
Maybe.
out of 3. 3 out of 3. Best luck all time. Anything else you got going? Sorry.
Not much else. I've just got a lot of other stuff that I compete in.
Yeah, we'll let the show go as long as we have to for you to plug all your stuff, Malcolm.
Well, that's basically it.
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't really have much else.
Perfect. Malcolm is the busiest person on the internet. It is known. You can find me Smith_K10, the number, not the word, Twitter, Instagram, and Stardust. Even though I don't post anything on Stardust, I haven't had any new followers since the last guy who randomly followed me. I'm a little disappointed. No, just no one followed me on Stardust. You can also find me right here hosting the show that you just watched. If you don't know what you just watched, I'm really sorry. Malcolm has the late night logo in the corner. You're not watching late night. You're watching the Reactors Summit. Yeah, you can also find me on Reactions, which you didn't do last week because, again, I had the flu. But hopefully we'll be, churning those out this season more. And Matt and I have a show coming out whenever I decide to edit it. Man, getting sick really threw me off because I had a lot of plans for last week that did not happen. So Matt and my show will be out soon, and no time frame because I don't want to disappoint myself. And that's it. So thanks guys for watching. Man, the Schmodown's just great this season. It's going to be great the rest of the season, but it's been so solid. We're really excited to talk about it. We're really excited that you guys all joined us in the chat. And we'll check you guys all out next week for more Schmodown goodness. Bye guys.